This is possibly the most primitive forest in the world. The tropical rainforest of the island of Borneo already existed 150 million years ago. It forms part of a green belt that encircles the Earth, an unknown, impenetrable world concealing unique creatures. Inconceivable animals that very few humans have ever seen. Shadows that know their only hope of staying alive is to remain hidden in their green island. The jungle has more than 3 dimensions, and in it even the plants have learned to kill. In this kingdom where fear reigns, no one can expect to live too long. We're going to take a walk on the wild side. We're going to climb up tree trunks as we did thousands of years ago, guided by the man of the forest. Borneo is the 3rd largest island in the world. It lies in Southeast Asia, but outside the so-called Ring of Fire, which means it has escaped the violent volcanic eruptions to which the nearby islands of Indonesia have been subjected. Here, for at least 50,000 years, the earth has not trembled, and that is why these enormous trees, called dipterocarps, have been able to grow and multiply until they have formed a gigantic tropical rainforest, which, until recently, was the 2nd largest in the world after the Amazon basin. A stable jungle in all senses of the word, where environmental conditions have changed very little. Though the soil is not fertile, the constant humidity and high temperatures favor intense competition, with every leaf trying to catch the minimum ray of sunlight that will allow it to carry out its chemical processes. Rainforests like this one are responsible for 90% of all photosynthesis on this planet. The biological diversity of the rainforests is such that on just 6% of surface area, they contain 50% of all animal and plant species. But the jungles of Borneo are especially famous for the enormous number of species of the most sophisticated flower in the world, the orchid. It is the most modern family of all higher plants. They have evolved so that their flowers resemble the insects that pollinate them. Up to now, almost 2,000 species of wild orchids have been described on the island, 10% of all the species in the world. They are highly specialized flowers, with some of them attracting only the males of a particular species of insect. That is why there is such variety of designs, such fierce competition. Delicate and exclusive heliports where only a select few are welcome. The interchange of products and so energy among the different levels of the jungle is constant. It involves both plants and animals. The macaques like this one clamber up the high trees to eat, but also send valuable resources back to the ground in the form of discarded branches. Down there, other much bigger plant eaters like the bangtang buffaloes or the sambar deer are in charge of clearing the thicket with their bodies, turning over the ground with their feet, transporting many seeds and fertilizing the soil with their excrement. The entire vertical system of nutrient exchange works in a delicate balance where each link in the chain is vital, and everyone gets something in one way or another. In the highest branches, too thin to bear the weight of a simian, the fruit-eating birds feast on the fruits that develop bright colors so they can be easily located. That is what the trees want, because inside the sweet pulp lie the seeds that must travel as far away as possible. Those that don't travel in the stomachs of the birds fall to the ground as the branches are shaken, and there they find other animals ready to devour them. The soil, which invested in the growth of the trees, now reaps the benefit as the remains of the fruit decompose. But the soil needs help to assimilate a fruit like this, full of nutrients. The food chain is not yet complete. Someone has to break down the matter a little more, in exchange, of course, for his cut in the deal. When the enormous horned beast can do no more, the bacteria and funguses will finish off the job. As well as the cycle of energy, a rainforest like this regulates its own conditions of temperature and especially humidity. Beneath the tree canopy in the permanent shadow of the forest floor, the air is so humid that some animals seem to swim more than walk. Here, earthworms, animals unable to live in dry conditions, do not need to hide beneath the surface, nor be nocturnal as in other places. They move freely out in the open air without fearing dehydration, and there are so many of them that they have attracted their own specialized predators lurking among the decomposed leaves. The Kinabalu giant red leech can easily reach 30 centimeters in length, and what is more, lives at altitudes of between 2,000 and 3,000 meters, which is unheard of for this type of animal. Worm against worm, the jungle floor is also the home of fierce hunters. Other, less specialized species of leeches lie in wait in strategic places, waiting for their next host to pass by. They are capable of detecting the presence of a mammal within a radius of 3 meters and of heading towards it. They are tiny vampires, the nightmare of anyone who visits these jungles. The victim is approaching. The wait is over. All that's needed is the slightest contact. But when it is discovered, the leech has to start all over again. That is, if it survives.